out when you were stuck.
Well, okay, part two. And here we go, 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 go. Repeat the beginning when you were stuck on a problem, whether it is a coding bug, a creative block, or a design layout. Your brain usually gets trapped in a rigid linear loop. You keep staring at the same variables, expecting a different result. Yeah. Using Nikola Tesla's 369 framework is a brilliant way to break that gridlock. Even if you look at it strictly as a conceptual tool, rather than literal cosmic physics, it acts as a powerful cognitive pattern breaker. Here is why applying the 369 lens works so well when you were stuck. 3. It imposes sacred constraints. Paradoxically, total creative freedom makes getting unstuck harder because there are too many choices. Giving yourself a strict geometric or numerical constraint, like mapping your problem to a matrix of 3, 6, or 9 elements, cuts out the decision fatigue. It gives you a specific sandbox to play in, which ironically lets your mind run completely wild within those boundaries. 4, it taps into node and network mapping. Think of 3 and 6 as the polar opposites, oscillating back and forth like a pendulum, neutral alternating turbo node that unifies the circuit. When you were stuck, you might be too polarized on one side of a problem, focusing entirely on technical execution while ignoring the aesthetic flow or vice versa. Zooming out to the non-position lets you see how those two opposing forces are actually balancing each other out, giving you the high-level perspective needed to find the elegant solution. Ultimately, it is a framework that turns abstract brainstorming into a structured geometric exercise. It stops you from spinning your wheels in the mud and hands you a completely different map of the terrain. And now we all know it all and all that matters too. So chuck it all, learn with me. When you are stuck on a problem, whether it is a coding bug, a creative block, or a design layout, your brain usually gets trapped in a rigid linear loop. You keep staring at the same variables, expecting a different result. Using Nikola Tesla's 369 framework is a brilliant way to break that gridlock. Even if you look at it strictly as a conceptual tool rather than literal cosmic physics, it acts as a powerful cognitive pattern breaker. Here is why applying the 369 lens works so well when you are stuck. One forces a shift from linear to structural thinking. Most troubleshooting happens in steps. A leads to B, B leads to C. But in vortex math, the numbers 3, 6, and 9 exist outside the standard binary doubling sequence. The glitch. When you're stuck, you are usually looping in that Biblion 24875 space, manipulating the same material data over and over. The 369 break, introducing 3, 6, and 9 forces you to step back and look at the vectors, the underlying geometry and hidden scaffolding of what you are building. It shifts your focus from the components to the overarching architecture too. The rule of 3 triggers natural pattern recognition. The human brain is optimized for triads. If you give the brain 2 points, it sees a line. If you give it 3, it sees a shape. When a project feels messy or overwhelming, filtering your data through 3. Creation 6. It takes absolute chaos and forces it into a triad structure, which instantly activates your brain's natural pattern recognition. Suddenly connections you missed appear out of the noise. So then there is but it all keeps going into song.